Yo, what is up, ballers? Valio from the Empire here with another pro tips video here. This time it's going to be about card creation. Now, although I will be talking about card creation, I'm also going to talk about, I wouldn't say the recommended card decks for positions, but I will give examples of a good card deck for a position that you could check out for that position as I'm looking at the book afterwards. But let's talk about card creation first. Alright, so this is how card creation works. First thing you got to do is create an all-star card. All-star pro card is what I should say. And to do that, you just select the card that you want to create. Let's say I'm a point guard, and SP4 is basically the most recommended deck for a point guard because it has the perfect stats for point guards, which is steal and long layup. And by that I mean, if you get this deck and you world it, you can get max long layup easily, which increases that range. And all you need on this deck is something like 3-point or mid shot, depending on what you want to do. And just speed and steal or block on there as well. And that's all it really takes for a point guard. That's why this is the most recommended deck for a point guard, because you can easily do that. I wouldn't say easily, but obviously it's luck based. But yes, this is the deck. And what would you do to create a card? All you have to do is look at what you need, which you can easily find by just pressing the plus button here, main slot, for instance. So for the main slot, I would need SP4 offense, which I have. Again, another SP4 offense for the second one, and an SP1 offense for this one. So all you gotta do is look at the conditions, and after that, you just put in the card, and boom, you create a card. And it'll do this cool animation that creates a card. You can also use Joker cards as well if you have some. Joker cards is basically a get out of jail free card kind of thing, where basically you basically just ignore the condition, and you just you are able to make the card with those Joker cards. It's pretty simple. And you basically just do that for every card. Some cards have different conditions that are very unnatural. You might see something like this, you need SP5 for this, and a different card instead of the same card. See what I'm saying? So it's not always the same card here. The main slide and the optional slide is not going to be the same sometimes, for example. And then after you create that pro card, you have to make a world card to get the max potential. So then once you get to that world card, it's going to be a little bit harder. You're going to need to prism your card, and prisming is basically upgrading your card, making it +1 on each stat. And it's really luck based, so good luck doing that. And hey, it looks like I already have one. So yeah, stuff like that. You're going to be doing stuff like that. And I'm almost done. I'm actually almost able to create one. I just need a middle shot attribute. So once you find what you need, and you just kind of just obviously try to get it. Let's say I try to get it real quick. Let's see if we can get it. If we get it, wowzers. We need middle shot attribute, right? So to get middle shot attribute, for instance, I would need to get an offense card or a talent card. Offense card is a lot easier, so I would go for an offense card here in this situation. And let's just hope I get it. I only have 17 subs. That'd be funny if I did get it, though. The middle shot attribute is pretty hard to get. Again, this is very luck based. If you have subs and you're trying to do this, just good luck doing that, man. Good luck to all that try to do this. Because there are so many stats in this game. Oh, and I got it. Wow, look at that. Right on video. Holy crap. Alright, looks like we can make our world card already. That was easy. But yeah, getting the prism, I think the prism part is the hardest part for this kind of stuff. And yeah, good luck with that for sure. And you just create the card, and boom, there's your world card. It's very simple process. All you gotta do is look at the conditions. That's the biggest thing, and then after that, it's just downhill. I mean, not downhill, but uphill. So yeah, once you get that world card, you can start changing your card. Look at the sub-attribute locks. You can now lock your stats that you want. That's the cool part about this. You can lock your stats. I'm going to see if I can change my stats real quick. See if I can find something I like. And if I find something like 3-point... Wow, double quick change. That's not what I wanted, but okay. Let me see if I can find some subs in my thing before I move on here. And no, I cannot. So, oh well. Yeah, like I said, if we get something, I will definitely change that. But yeah, besides the point, that's how you create a card. And just look at the conditions. That's the biggest thing. Always check the conditions because they could be different. Especially on the new card decks. It's a little bit different in that sense. They got some different kinds of things going on. Like, you know, say you need a different card, for instance. You know what I'm saying? Or like, you know, 2 different cards, stuff like that. That's how you really, that's the easiest part. I mean, that's the easiest way that I can explain creating cards. And now the ultimate question is, what cards should you use for each position? This is a tough thing because honestly, you can use basically any card for any position depending on what you want to do as a player. But I will definitely tell you some recommended, you know, the recommended positions for each deck real quick. Let's see if I can find the book here. Let's find the book. So we're gonna go to the book and we're gonna go to Legend. I think that's where all the SP decks are, and we'll just start from there. All right, so Sp2 Deck. This is a pretty, it's a pretty okay deck. It used to be one of the best decks for PF. Because, you know, I have block and tussle and long dunk, you know, when the game first started, for sure. But now, you know, PF has the SP6 deck and all that. But this is still a good deck for PF. It can also be a good deck for center. And also CT for sure. You know, control tower, holy crap. I got the hiccups. But yeah. That's what I would recommend, but you can basically build a lot of other stuff with this. But yeah, definitely CT, center, and PF is really good here, and maybe even SF. SP1, same thing, all big mans, and I would say SF, but honestly, this deck is kind of obsolete unless you're a center, I guess. But it's mostly obsolete to like SP6. Which is down here. It's obsolete. No, not SP6. Sorry, SP8. Excuse me, SP8, because it has tussle, rebound, and middle shot, which is perfect for someone like an SF big man, for instance, or even a CT would be really good with this. That's what I would recommend. But anyway, let's continue here. Actually, before I continue, I forgot to explain something. When you're creating a card, there's one card in particular that's really hard to make. I forgot to talk about this. Sorry about that. SP4 defense. There's a specific card that you cannot get. And it's Toy Edition 6 defense. This is where you would want to do the loophole, which is get a Joker card, which they do have events for. They actually provide you free Joker cards. So I would probably wait for events with that. And also, All-Star Pro Wish card could also help you here. If you get an All-Star Pro Wish card, you can just, you know, grab a potential star number 4 automatically. So that's what I would recommend doing. That's the only card I think that is, like, basically, I wouldn't say impossible to get, but it's definitely something where you have to do, like, loopholes to get it. But anyway, continuing on, let's try to do this book really quickly. Just going to talk about it really fast. SP3, SF, for sure, SF, SW, definitely most recommended. And also, you start off with this deck for SFs and SWs. They start off with a deck like this. Tell you what, SP1, big man start with that, you know, CT, PF, center. SP4 is definitely recommended for point guards, but any position can use this if you want to steal. But I would highly recommend it for point guards, dual guards, SW, pretty much, and SG. That's about it. That's what I would recommend if you're trying to go for that steal build. That is definitely really good for those positions. SP5, shooting guard, no questions. And point guard is very possible here. DG, if you're trying to score with them, is really good for that. CT, if you're trying to corner, become a little corner, that is really good for them as well. These card decks here, now this is interesting. Card decks is so, oh my god. Dude, you can do so much with card decks. It's not card decks, but card skill decks. Sorry. Card skill decks. You can do a lot with this. I want to talk about these real quick. So post-up quick change card deck, for instance, you get the post-up quick change skill. If you don't know the post-up quick change skill, it's basically like you doing a post drive really fast the moment you get the ball. Basically, that's the whole basis of it. And that's really good for some positions. Like SW, for instance, has a skill called post up and drive, which is like a combo. Like after you post up and like you post up drive, right? You can do like combos with it. So if you get something like post up quick change, you can do some drives with that, and it's very interesting to see like what you can come up with something like that, because you do a lot of stuff with that. But yeah, that's what that's something you can experiment with. I think these card skill decks are mostly just experimental decks. I don't know about the pick and move deck though. That's kind of pointless in my opinion. Every position has pick and move. Quick change, not every position has quick change, and not every position has double clutch, especially the big man positions. They do not have double clutch. So that's why I use the double clutch deck, for instance, for power forward, because you can do manual dunk with double clutch, and and of course layups with double clutch, and you don't even need the scoring PF tree anymore if you have this deck. So that's one cool thing about that. Center would be interesting with this as well, and CT. Like CT scoring would be kind of cool with that as well. The only problem is the stats is not too good with scoring. That's why I don't understand why this deck even exists with those stats. Like, honestly, those stats should be like offensive stats. I don't get why it's like that, but okay. I guess it's fine. But anyway, yeah, card decks, man, check them out. Like, they're really interesting. It's more of an experimental deck. I wouldn't really try to make it your main deck unless that's what you're trying to go for, like pull-up jumper for point guards or CTs, or even big mans would be something to some sight to see for sure. Anyway, there's also decks like running speed decks that is this is pretty good for, like, if you're trying to do like a speed build for any position. Honestly, obviously point guard would be really good for that, or even like a SG that's trying to run really fast, or whatever position you're trying to be fast with. The only problem is it doesn't have that all attribute stat, like what these like SP editions have, all attribute plus 7, all attribute plus 10, whatever. That gives you the extra stat. Now, oh wow, I didn't know they had card skill decks for SP editions. That's interesting. I mean, not for SP editions, but toy editions. That's cool. But these skills are, oh, they got a kill pass deck. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Wow, and they never came out with that for us? What the heck? V-cut deck. They got a V-cut deck? Oh my, dude, you just learn something every day. Wow, that's pretty cool. A dry fake deck. Just imagine a CT in a center dry faking. But anyway, yeah, anyway, running speed decks. And these are just the, yeah, I don't care about these decks. These are all attribute plus 5 decks. They're kind of pointless. But now you move on to SP6. SP6 is probably the most used deck in this game. A lot of blockers use it. Even point guards use it. With like stealing and all that. They kind of just mix it up, mismatch. It's got running speed and block, which is probably the most used stats in this game. For people who want to just be able to block and be fast at the same time, this is probably the most, like I said, the most used deck. SP7 is probably a deck I never see anybody use, as it does have steal, and 3-point. This, these stats together just don't make any sense to some people, so they just don't pick this deck. And also, there's no speed on this, so it's kind of iffy. But maybe someone out there has that deck. That'd be cool. SP8, it's like I said, it makes SP1 kind of obsolete, especially for SF and CT. Definitely recommend it for those positions. Or, if you want to make a big man, like a PF or center, have mid shot, that'd be good too. Again, this is another obsolete deck. I wouldn't use it. You might as well just use SP8. I guess unless you're trying to increase your long dunk attribute, which is just success rate on dunk, like long dunks and stuff. And you also have This Is Awesome deck. That's good for dual guards or any position that wants to have a mix of, like, you know, 3-point and mid shot. That's a scoring position especially. It's perfect for them. Best guard. This one's decent. This one's okay. Just the stamina is probably the one that hurts a lot, but hey man, stamina is pretty important. But SP stamina does make it easier for you to not run out of stamina anyway. But yeah, it's a pretty good deck for like SFs, SGs, SWs, you know, point guards, etc. Like, you can use this for anything pretty much. Even PFs. Anyways, continue on. Oh, these are all new card decks. I'm not going to talk about new card decks because not many people have access to this. You have to buy these. It's very hard to get these. So, you literally have to, like, pay to get these. So, I'm not going to talk about those. But yeah, the average decks. I just wanted to explain that. Sorry for this long video. Just needed to talk about, you know, recommended decks for positions and all that. That's just me, though. This is all my opinion. Pretty much you can use any deck with any position. Just be creative. If you like that specific stat, you know, that's what these decks are for. They're for, you know, your needs, your creativity, basically. That's what it's for. So, if you don't want to, you know, if you don't want to be the meta, then don't be the meta. Like, you don't have to force yourself to do the same thing other people are doing. Like, that's how I feel about this game, is you can do whatever the heck you want. So go ahead and do that. You can also fuse cards or fuse these legend little material cards to make, you know, other legend cards, for instance. Let me see what I get here. Look at that. I got something that's not really too good, unfortunately. Sometimes you might get an SP card deck. Or, you know, you just get toy editions. Whatever. You know, you get whatever. And whatnot. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this. Sorry for this long video, guys. I try to avoid making long videos, because I know people don't really have that kind of time. But yeah, don't worry. I'll put some timestamps on it. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And good luck making your cards.